Where you at? Let's go.
Afternoon.
There we go. There we go. Go. Well, how come I don't have that shirt? How come I don't got that?
I gotta get you one of these, Coach. I gotta get you one.
This is the thin cut. I look like I got this is my athlete build cut.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I make Terrell look jealous in this shirt. You let him know that too. You let him know.
Oh, I'm definitely gonna do that.
Oh man, so we got a squad on here. Let's I'm gonna. Boom, 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 boom. Oh man, how's the family?
Everybody's good. Everybody's good. Just trying to quarantine the best way we know how.
That's right. Well, y'all know how to have fun. So I mean, like, if it was me, you would probably be broke by now because I'd be probably taking you for like spades or something.
Come on, Coach. I'm trying to take my spade game is impeccable right now.
I don't know about that.
It's crazy right now.
I don't know. That's something I might have to.
And I'm working on my throw too.
Oh man,
crazy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I might have to remind you. I have to remind you. So, but you guys still working? I see your mom's got you out in the track running. You guys still getting after. You got the nice hill too on the drive. Yeah. That's nice.
Most definitely been getting to it.
That's awesome, man. So I'm gonna let everybody jump on here. We got a heck of a squad on here, guys.
Yeah, we do. I'm looking at the participants right now.
We will absolutely open up for open mic afterwards.
For sure.
In the meantime, if you're not on, right? Then definitely do me a favor and go ahead and just mute your mics, and then I'll bring you guys in for Q&A with Trey afterwards. But what I really wanted to bring you on, is just you got an incredible story, and I think athletes, kids, you inspire a lot of people. You really do. Whether it be Tuesdays with Trey or anything, anybody that interacts with you just know they leave better, right? And then I'm a hard ass. I'm pretty rough. You know me. I like to tell people like it is. And that's how I get the most out of people. One of the things that you have a unique ability to is you get the most out of them by getting them to believe in themselves. You get the most out of them by getting them to say, hey, listen, you're in charge of yourself. Don't worry about all that other stuff. Whether it be even if it's true, you got to make a decision on is it still going to be true in the future, right?
Yeah.
Like you have this unique ability to just like see that in people, even though it is what it is. You're very gifted. You're very talented. You come from a great family. But it's your journey, right? And that's one of the things I remember when I first met you. I actually was introduced to you because of Caleb. I had Caleb for years. I had Caleb since he was a baby, and it's interesting because I kind of got Caleb from his dad, who's a damn good coach, but he's just like, listen, I'm dad. I gotta separate these roles so I can be the best version of dad that I can be, and you kind of take over coaching part, which worked out great. Right?
Yeah.
And that trust I built with him introduced me to you. And I remember, like, when I first met you, I was just like, okay, like, I don't know if you even know what you could do, but you belong in the league. Mm-hmm. I told you that. I was like, you belong. It's going to be tough, but you belong. And the thing is the world hasn't seen it yet. There's a lot of people that didn't – they didn't know because there wasn't film to show it. There wasn't stats to show it, and you had to prove a lot of people wrong, but you really focused on proving yourself right and you just focused on the controllables every day.
Absolutely.
if you don't mind, like, tell your story. Like, I mean, obviously you were recruited out of high school. You played. Tell that story, because I think a lot of people they want to hear it. You know, it's amazing the position that you're in now, right? But they don't know how you
Absolutely.
got here. They don't know the work that you put in, and I think about that because I saw you every day. Just bring us back to like high school and kind of where you grew up and how you ended up kind of going through the recruiting process and ended up at Tech.
All right. So first and foremost, guys, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Trey Edmunds. I play running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So I see a lot of familiar names on here, but I see some names I'm not familiar with. So I just wanted to introduce myself. And I first started working with Coach Cav in 2016. You know, we first started our relationship back in 2016. He kind of outlined how that happened, and a couple guys referenced me to him and referenced him to me, and we met, and that was a turning point in my life. So as I go back to a little bit about myself, I'm one of three boys. Both of my parents were athletes. My mom ran track in high school and college. She currently still has some records. And she went to Southern Illinois University, and she was born and raised in Saginaw, Michigan. So she was a track star. My father played football in Danville, Virginia, which is my hometown. He went on to the University of Maryland and also went on to play 8 years in the National Football League. So I come from pretty good stock, you know, but any of us that are sports fans or that knows anything about the game of sport, it has to be a little bit more than just coming from stock. You know, you got to bring something to the table yourself, and you got to be able to provide. So a little bit about myself. Been playing football since I was in fourth, fourth grade. You know, I started off playing tackle. I skipped the flag football stage. You know, I don't think my mom was too fond of that, but I kind of skipped that flag football stage, but kind of got thrown out there. You know, it was my choice, though. You know, my parents never forced any sports upon me. They allowed myself and my brothers to kind of make our own path in life. They didn't want us to, I guess, mimic their footsteps. You know, they wanted us to do what we wanted to do, although they did want us to play sports, you know, but they didn't want to make that a priority. They wanted us to choose first, and then they were going to allow us to, you know, they was going to help us navigate through it. So played football all my life, played basketball, ran track. I like to think I was pretty good at it. You know, Coach Cav joked with me all the time about basketball. That was definitely my first love. Basketball was my first love. I'm putting it out there. But
I know I'll take your money in cards. I don't know if I'll take your money in basketball. I'll give you that.
I stopped growing, man. So that kind of put a stop to that basketball situation, because to make it in this game, you got to have a little hype to you. But anyways, played football all throughout high school. Started on varsity in 9th grade. You know, I started at quarterback, and my father was my coach. And let me tell you, I don't know if any of you guys ever experienced having a father as your coach, but it was one of the toughest experiences I've ever had. You know, he wasn't the type of father that was patting me on my back, lifting me up. He was the type of father that he was going to try to tear me down if he could, you know, but in a loving way, in a coaching way, in a way that wanted to make me better, because he knew the potential. He saw me on an everyday basis. He saw what I had inside of me, but he wanted me to see it for myself. You know, so my father pushed me to extreme limits, you know, starting at 13, 14 years of age. You know, and I kind of developed a mindset in 9th grade, and it kind of excelled me all throughout high school and college and now the NFL. So I started at quarterback in varsity in my 9th grade. Didn't really like quarterback, but, you know, I had to do it because that's what we needed at the time. Kind of transitioned to running back and middle linebacker my sophomore year. And it was my junior year when things really started to click. You know, I was starting to get all-state honors. I was starting to get national recognition. I was starting to get these high school combine recognitions, and just things just started to click for me. You know, things were starting to go well. I was starting to come to myself. I was starting to grow into my body. I was starting to understand the game a little bit more. 11th grade was a stellar year for me. I think going into my senior year of high school, I had almost 25 offers. You know, 25 football offers. I had a couple basketball offers to some smaller schools, but football was by far my way out. You know, my way to college, and my ticket, for, if you want to say that. But at a young age, you know, my parents installed in myself and my brothers that, hey, man, it's more than just sports out here. You know, you got to have the grades. You got to be coachable. You got to have a work ethic. And I was able to see all this stuff at an early age. And it wasn't until I got to college till I really had to put it into fruition for myself. You know, it was no longer them on my back, or it was no longer me going home and sitting at the dinner table and them asking me, what did I do to apply myself today? It was no longer that. You know, when I got to college at the moment, I was able to accept all of that stuff and make a decision on my own. So I was able to get a full athletic scholarship to Virginia Tech. You know, Coach Frank Beamer and everyone. One of the most memorable moments of my life, signing that dotted line to go to Virginia Tech, man. And it was 4 of the best years of my life. You know, I went there, I redshirted my first year. I was not even supposed to play running back there. I got recruited as an athlete, you know, but when I got there, I wanted to play outside linebacker. It's sort of like a whip position. It's like outside linebacker, nickel linebacker, hybrid safety type position, you know. So that's what I originally went to college for, and that's what I wanted to do. However, after my redshirt year, there were a lot of injuries at running back, you know. So the way things were looking was the quicker I could get on the field, just so happened to be at the running back position. You know, if I was able to go in there and learn the running back position, if I was able to go in there and pick up the playbook, it was a possibility I can get on the field that year, my redshirt freshman year. So, of course, I took it. You know, I told the coaches, like, listen, let's go. Let's work. I can play running back. This is what I do. You know, you guys saw me play running back. You know what I could do. So let's get to work, you know. And Coach Cal will appreciate this. One of the other ACC schools that wanted me to come in and play specifically running back was the USC Tar Heels, too. So I definitely had to throw that in for you, Coach. You know how they go.
Look better in Carolina blue. That's God's color. You should have known that. Your mom, you know what? You would look good in Carolina blue.
For sure.
But I tell you, it all works out for a reason. So now interesting enough. So and I think that what's really unique is that your history of knowing the game and coming from a family of athletes, learning that, like, having a football IQ. You have a good football IQ, you have a good football IQ. You know the game, but also you're very instinctual, to where that flip then potentially helped you tremendously. You know, even like not just, you know, the transition at Tech, but it's actually the early part of your career, like what you did on special teams. Like you really, you made huge impacts in the NFL early on because your ability to tackle, right?
Definitely.
And your ability to understand the field and feel things out and make plays. And I think beyond the tactics aspect of it, right? There's a seizing the opportunity. And like, so tell me about like the moment at Tech when you're there as a linebacker, you're there as an athlete, you know what you could do, but you also know that there's just a crack of the door, a little bit of an opportunity. Like, what gives you the confidence to show up to the coach and say, I want to do this. This is what I got. When they're constantly telling you there's a depth chart in this world, there's a hierarchy at the college level, because that's just the way it works.
Absolutely.
Well, what about your mentality gave you the confidence to say, this is who I am, this is what I could do, I want to help this team, but I also need to focus on me a little bit? What was that like?
You know, I think playing any sport nowadays, you have to have some type of confidence and some type of selfishness to you. You know, selfishness in a good way, though. You have to be able to go in there and say, you got to be able to speak for yourself. You got to be able to voice for yourself. And you have to know what you can bring to the table. You know, and at that point in time, I knew I could bring a couple things to the table, but it was just being able to figure out and separate what could I bring to the table that can get me on the field and get me noticed first. You know, and when that running back position opened up, although I may not have wanted to do that more than I wanted to play linebacker, I knew I could still do it, and I knew I was still very good at it. And I knew that it could be one step closer to me getting to the NFL, which was my ultimate dream. You know, so that's what kind of went through my mind at that process was, okay, cool. Let's put aside, you know, maybe what I want, but let's focus on what I need and what's going to help me and what's going to get me to the next level the quickest and what's going to be best for me. You know, I didn't know when I would play if I would have just stayed at linebacker. There were a couple guys in front of me, and they were pretty good, you know. Actually, when I got there, Kyle Fuller was playing the nickel position, the whip linebacker position, you would say. And he ended up going first round, you know, I think in the 2015 draft. You know, and there was another guy behind him that was really good. But I didn't quite know when I would get in that position. I knew I would get there eventually because I knew my work ethic and I knew what I brought to the table. But when that running back availability opened for me, I quickly had to seize that opportunity and quickly had to get on.
And I think that lends into, not only just being a team player, but understand like part of this game is being selfish. Part of this game, part of this game is like, no, I could bring to this table. Part of being a good team player is showing up as the best version of yourself.
Absolutely.
So the coaches don't have to pull this out of you.
Yeah.
And I tell this, like, going all the way back to the day that we met, I give you guys this kind of like this. It's not a motivational talk at all. It's literally just me just laying it out there, guys. Like, if I have to motivate you, if I have to be on you, this is the wrong spot. Because if it takes too long for you to buy in, you've already missed your window.
Absolutely.
And you showed up every single day, not with just bringing your lunch pail work ethic, but you showed up every single day with the challenge to say, hey, I want to be part of the best, and I knew what you could provide. And you had a good group. I mean, that was a good working group,
Absolutely.
And when you're with guys that want to work together, they bring out the best in you because they know that even though they're in the same room as you, you still got to get yours,
Yeah.
And I'll never – that started with the conversation I had with your dad. I'll never forget this. Now, mind you, I knew who your dad was before your dad knew who I was.
Yeah.
And I asked you posted a video on his birthday. I said, I need that video.
Yeah.
Because the guy on that video that's fist pumping was my mentor and one of my coaches, Tony Nathan. And Tony rode me. I mean, he turned me into a hell of a player. He coached me the heck out of me. But I learned a lot from him. And it's really interesting to see kind of things come full circle. And he told me, he goes, I remember when we first talked, he's like, yeah, listen, if you do a good job with Trey, like I have two younger, other sons.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew who they were. Don't get me wrong. Like I knew who it's not hard to find out.
Mm-hmm.
But in my mind, there was only one Edmunds. Like that was just the way it worked.
Absolutely.
And not because it was you, but it was because you showed up and you were in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I think about things. And it's interesting is because of the way I approach that, like selfish approach as me as a coach to an athlete, the selfish approach that you had as an athlete and coach, you made everything better. You made me better as a coach. You made the environment better, and you own those opportunities. There's a lot of things that I think sometimes people forget. They forget that it's just as much as the way you show up and just as much as the way the coach shows up to get the most out of it. Right? It's the work that your mom and your dad put in years before to build some of these work ethics, the things that you didn't enjoy doing. You know what I mean?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I mean, I laugh because still to this day, out of all and this is mean no disrespect. Anybody that watching this knows me, but this means no disrespect to any NFL moms that I know. But your mom might be the only one that I actually enjoy listening and talking to. But I'm also a little hesitant too because I know she knows her stuff. So that it's like a little bit like, oh, she might catch me on something. I can't just be like.
You know what? It's funny because I saw her name pop up on this call too, so she's listening.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have said that. I would have hit. I would have run for her, but she's too fast.
Well, so,
so tell me a little bit about this. So go back a little bit. You're the oldest of three brothers.
Yes.
The little Edmunds happens to be a little bit bigger. He's a little guy, but he might be the baby. He might be the baby, but he ain't the little one. Well, what's it like being big brother, right? Because like that, I tell you, it's really cool to see both you push them and them push you. So what's it like having three brothers in that environment from Danville, right? Which the only college there is Averett, and I don't even know if they play football, So it's a little different level of football.
Sure.
But what's it like, the competitive atmosphere of your brothers all in that same house?
With me being the oldest, I kind of had to grow up a little quicker than they had to, because I knew that I had two people watching every single move I made. And not saying that I was perfect growing up, but I tried to calculate every move I made. You know what I'm saying? Because I knew that if I did something wrong, they would try to mimic it. And who knows what would have happened? What if they would have got addicted to what they were doing? What if I did something that could have led them down the wrong path? What if I chose something different in sports? What if I would have took a different path besides football? Because like you said, Danville is very small. It's not a lot to do. And no, not to the city. I love my city with everything, but as a young person there growing up, it's really not a lot going on. You know, we can't go out and hang out at Top Golf or can't go play laser tag and stuff like that. We don't even have a laser tag in Danville. You know, so it's about 3 or 4 things you could do as a young person growing up outside of going to school. You know, so it's a lot of time on your hand. And I think what I had to learn at an early age was kind of what to do with that free time, what I wanted to do with that free time. I knew in my mind I wanted to go to the NFL. You know, I feel like each and every person on this call know that in their mind when they were younger, they wanted to do something, you know, but I knew at that young age that it wasn't just going to happen. I had to start forming habits, you know, at 6th and 7th and 8th grade, you know, that I could take all the way into high school and college and, you know, my career, you know, and I had to try to start training my mind at that young age before I even knew what training your mind meant. You know, I had to train my mind at a young age to get to the point I'm at now. You know, and it took a whole lot of trial and error. I tell you, I messed up a lot, you know, but I do know that when I did mess up, I was able to acknowledge it and I was able to let my brothers know, listen, don't do what I did. You know, I can save you a couple steps by the mistakes I made. You know, and I think that they took that with them and with the athletic ability they had and the work ethic that they grew to get, you know, it allowed them to go and do the careers they're doing right now as well.
Absolutely. And I think that it's one of the things that's real unique about you is, and I'll tell you this as someone who spent some time with you, like not even the best times where it's like some of the days were not that much fun, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's just part of it, right? That's part of the job. But what I'll say is like, you know your role in those environments.
Yeah.
Because some days you come in and I wouldn't let you work. And that's hard for you. That was like, and I could tell like that was hard for you to even like stomach. Like what do you mean?
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you to pump the brakes because you came to me. And again, we all face adversity, but when I first met you, like you weren't even cleared. There was no training, you know?
Yeah.
And your motor, you like to move. You don't like to you like to get work in. You don't like to be slow and do all this stuff. You like to do a lot of work, but you had to kind of back off a little bit. So like the adversity of the injuries that you had through your college career, what was that like? Because I mean, mindset wise, you always have other people looking at you, but you always have people trying to take your job too.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? So kind of diving into that's probably one of the most important parts of my personal story, I think, you know, because I think that this is the part where I did the most growing. And I did the most growing when I was doing absolutely nothing, if that makes any sense to you guys. When I was absolutely still and couldn't do no type of running, lift no type of weight, do any type of exercise, I did the most growing. So I played my entire freshman year, my redshirt freshman year, first game versus Alabama. I exploded on a national level. I think I rushed for like 130 yards or something like that. Ended up having a crazy freshman year, getting ACC honors. Just the buzz just started going around. You know, started every game that year. But we were playing University of Virginia, the last game of the season. We were at Virginia. It's a big rivalry. You know, anybody from Virginia, you know what it is. The Virginia Tech Virginia game, man, it's crazy. You're talking to a guy who's never been hurt in his life. A guy that's been doing everything, out backflipping off of trees and trampolines and just doing all types of crazy stuff growing up. But, you know, made it through all these sports my entire life, playing 3 sports in high school and never been hurt, but couldn't get through one full season in college. So we were playing the University of Virginia, and it was a close game. You know, it was a real close game. It was 0-0 for the most part. I think both teams may have kicked the field goal, I think going into the third quarter, going into after halftime. So whatever, Logan Thomas was our quarterback. I had some type of pass on the backfield. Boom, broke a guy, caught a pass over the middle, crossed the linebacker's face, scored a touchdown. Boom, we go up. It's like 9-6. I mean, it's like 9-3 still, something crazy like that. So we're going at it. Hardcore third quarter game. Last drive of the third quarter, we get back on offense. I get some type of running play out the backfield. I'll never forget it. I get some type of running play out the backfield, and I'm trying to make a guy miss. I see a guy in front of me, and I also see the safety coming down. So I'm trying to think of a way how I can split those guys. All I can remember is trying to do a move on the safety, but the guy from the side hits me, And the way how he tackles me, my leg gets stuck underneath him. And I'm getting tackled, 3 guys on top of me, and I'm getting tackled, and my leg's still stuck underneath him. Now, mind you, I'm on the ground, never been hurt before. I don't even know what it's like to be hurt. I don't know what to feel. I don't know, like, how it's supposed to be. All I know is when the ref blew the whistle for me to get up, I couldn't move. You know, and at that moment, I knew something was wrong, and I'm just telling myself at that time, just, Trey, don't look down. Like, I don't know why I didn't want to look down. I don't know what I was afraid of, but I didn't want to look down. So the ref came closer to me. He said, no, my jersey number was 14. He said, number 14, you got to get up. I just looked at him. See, you got to get up. So some of my teammates came over there, and they realized that something was wrong. And one of my teammates looked at my leg, and they quickly called the trainers. And at that moment, man, my entire life changed. You know, I had an injury at that moment where I broke my tibia, my fibula, tore ligaments in my ankle, and a ligament in my knee, all on one play. You know, so at that moment, everything I've worked for up until that moment, I mean, I couldn't been no more than 19 years old at that time. You know, and everything I've been working for my entire life seems like it flashed right before me in one play. You know, so it was that moment that I think I did the most growing, because I rehabbed for 14 months. It took me 14 months to get back to myself. And even when I got back to myself, I wasn't my original self. You know, so I had to kind of adapt the mindset that, hey, listen, things may be a little different from the beginning, you know, but it was my duty and it was my responsibility to work, you know, and I always knew how to work, but this was a different type of work. This was a type of work that was limited. I like Coach Cav said, man, I hate to be limited. I like to be able to just go out there and just do me. Like, I like to give me the instructions and tell me to let's go. That's my type of work. I'm going to go. I'm not going to do too much complaining. I'm not going to do too much talking. I'm going to work. But, I mean, waking up at 6 a.m. every single morning, going into the training room, I'm talking about days where I couldn't even go to class. There were days where I couldn't dress myself. You know, we talking to a 19-year-old, you know, in college, a guy that's supposedly supposed to be at his prime in his life, you know, a guy that had everything in front of him. But now this one injury derailed me. So I'm like, okay, cool. 14 months later, I'm finally working myself back, working my way back, just trying to get back right. This was, and mind you, like Coach Cav said, during this whole process, Virginia Tech still has a duty to win football games. So, yes, what I was doing for them prior to the injury was very good, but during the injury, they still had to occupy my spot. You know, and at the same time, it's not personal because that's what the job is. That's what it's all about. That's what sports is all about. But I had to learn that at a young age. I had to learn not to take it personal because it's easy. It's easy to take it personal because you feel personally attacked because what you had is now being stripped away because of circumstances that you couldn't prevent. You know, but at the end of the day, it's a business. So 14 months later, I come back. I'm working, miss spring ball, trying to come back for the next season. Just grinding. So, man, I'm a couple steps behind, but I'm good enough to play. So I'm like, Coach, let's go. So he got me working in. I'm in a rotation at this point. I'm not starting anymore. I don't quite have a burst that I used to have, and it's obvious that my game was not the same. You know, but in my mind, I'm just thinking to myself, like, come on, man, you got it. So finally, I just kept working. And we were in Chapel Hill playing the University of North Carolina. And, man, I was just starting to feel myself again. It was me and another guy, Marshawn Williams, was running backs at that time. And, man, we were rolling. Chapel Hill had a good team this year. Man, we were going back and forth. It was a good one. And I gotta play up the middle. And, man, I'm telling you, I got the ball, and I just felt like I did in 2013 all over again. This is 2015 I'm talking about. But I'm finally feeling like myself 2 years ago. I got to play. I got the ball up the middle. Boom, I get hit. Any one of you guys know when you get hit and land on your shoulder, sometimes it just feels like a stinger. Sometimes it feels like a pinch. Sometimes it's just anything, right? You get back up, you shake it off, you keep going. So that's what I did. You know, it was a pass play next, so I didn't really get any contact. But we got the first down, so Coach came right back to me. He said, Trey, I need you to bust one. I said, okay, cool, let's go. I got an outside zone handoff up the sideline. And as I'm running, boom, we hike the ball. I get the ball. I'm running up the sideline. I could just hear my shoulder just moving and cracking. And I'm like, man, what's going on? This isn't right. So as I'm trying to open up my stride, my shoulder just pops out completely. So I'm slowing up. The guys are catching me. I'm not understanding what's going on. So before I even get touched, because I was going to take it to the house, let's just be honest. I had gained about 30, 35 yards before I even noticed or before I even begin to slow up. So, man, I run out of bounds and just dropped the football. And I was on UNC sideline, and their trainers came up to me and they said, Edmunds, what's the matter? What's going on? I said, I'm not sure. My shoulder. I can't move it. He said, what's going on? I said, sir, I'm not sure. My shoulder. I can't move it. Our trainers came over there. I went and got an x-ray right then and there. Come to find out that play before, when I fell on my shoulder, when I thought it was just a sprain or a burn or something like that, I had broken my collarbone. So that whole time I was getting the handoff running on a broken collarbone. Boom. They put me back even more steps. I probably missed a half a season on this. I didn't get a chance to finish that season. So mind you, we're at 3 seasons and I have yet to finish 1 full season. So it's like, man, like, I don't know what's going on. Like, this is crazy. I wanted to go to the NFL my whole life, but I've had 2 major injuries, and I'm not even 20 years old yet. Like, what am I doing? And rehab that injury, try to get back the best way I can. Virginia Tech continues to recruit running backs. They continue to recruit running backs, and they continue to recruit good running backs too. Running backs that are making names for themselves and running backs that are doing stuff. And I'm not jealous, but, I am seeing my future kind of slip away because I'm not able to grasp it on my own. Like, again, just due to personal, circumstances. So that time goes by. I come back from my last year there. I graduate that year. I play that season. That was the remainder of the 3rd season. I played that season. It was kind of just like a role that, you just get put in. Just a role that, not a major role, but we're going to put you on this team just to say you're on here. Boom.
Well, let's back up real quick. Let's back up real quick. How hard was it for you just to take care of your personal responsibilities in school, socially, when you're not the Trey Edmunds that you can be? Like, when that is stripped of you, not necessarily from an identity standpoint, but who you truly know that you could actually be fulfilled to be. Like, what how hard was that? And, like, where was your head at? Like, when you're you still have responsibilities of school, you still have responsibility to show up and support while you rebuild, from the inside out physically, but also mentally as well.
Absolutely. Man, Coach, I had some of the darkest nights I've ever had in my life. There were times where I would just sit at home and just cry, and I'm not a crier. I'm not the type of guy that goes and cries about my problems. I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with it, but I'm just not the type of guy. But there were nights and days where I just cried all day, because my body was in pain. My mind was all over the place. I was thinking about everything. It was rough. It was rough. And I took the mindset at first that I could do all this stuff by myself. I thought I could fix myself by myself. I thought I could get back by myself. I thought I could still keep my grades up by myself. My grades began to slip. I began to miss classes. My mindset began to be not work and just get lazy. Like, I developed this lazy mindset, and it wasn't until I had talks with people, that were in higher positions than me, i.e. my pastor, the chaplain at our school at the time, certain professors, our academic advisor. It wasn't until I had talks with them, my family, my parents, the special people that was in my life at that time, that helped me realize that, listen, man, like, I understand you're going through some things. I understand that things aren't going as planned. I understand that the circumstances are different for you right now, but you can't allow that to dictate your future. And what I was thinking at the time was, listen, I'm going through this, so I'm going to live in it. Everybody in the world is going to know that I'm going through something because I was going to show it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the mindset I took on. And that didn't work for me too long at all. Like I said, Coach, man, it was some dark nights, man. My grades began to slip. Just a lot of things were going wrong at that time. I wasn't even noticing the football world. Huh?
You get past that, you get to Maryland.
Yeah.
Similar situation.
Man.
And this is like, when I say this is a crazy story, guys, everybody here sees the Trey Edmunds on TV. They see the pro day. They see the 3-4 years in the league. They see these things, but they do not know the work that was put in. They don't know the values and the integrity that was built from your family, the environments, and why all of these things were created. They don't think this is real.
Yeah.
They think that, okay, you're special, and I get that, and you are. But part of what makes you special is the fact that when you were faced with this level of adversity, that you took it, and it shaped you who you are today. Now, that doesn't mean that you wouldn't have been the man that you are today if you wouldn't have got hurt. But these lessons that you learn and the things that people are going through, that you take that poor me approach and you won't go anywhere. What advice do you have to athletes right now? Because it seems by what I'm hearing, because I didn't know that Trey. I mean, I never that dark Trey, I didn't know that. You didn't show up with that at all in my life. Like, that was nothing I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
The darkest part of the relationship I experienced, and I think that was probably more me than you, was with an organization in the earlier stages right after the draft. Like, and I don't want to say anything, but that was probably the hardest I dealt with. Like, that was the darkest I was during our relationship. I did not handle that well. I thought something was going to happen to me.
For sure.
What I was going to do. But I will tell you, like, what advice, and it's very important that this be shared. What advice do you have to people? Because it seems to me that it's not just one thing that happened. It's not just one pivotal moment. It's not one person's conversation. It wasn't one coach. It wasn't one, administrator or teacher. It wasn't one parent. It was a collection of everything that kind of created this opportunity for you. I was dealt a really good, hand, in my opinion, when I met you, because I got the Trey that had work ethic. I got the Trey that had talent. I got the Trey that had the right mentality. I got the Trey that was trained already. I got the person that had good. I got that. So it wasn't like this was built. It was a rebuild and show the world what you could do. So I think a lot of times I get a lot of credit because, like, I didn't realize this. Logan, you probably played with DJ Coles then, right?
I did.
So I trained DJ too.
Yeah, I played with him my first 2 years.
Yeah, see, I didn't know that. So, like, DJ goes out and runs a lights out 40 as well after coming back off of ACL and other injuries.
Yeah.
But again, I got a lot of credit, and in reality, it was like it's the coaches that were there before, the parents, the systems, and a lot of those things that were there, and the work ethic that you put in. So that all we have to do right now is we just need to get rid of all the garbage, put good stuff in your body, like even down to the supplements, the food that you ate. Like, I was a stickler. Y'all want to see, me, Trey, go at it. It's fried chicken. Like, we're going to fried. We're going to go at it, But it sounds like there was a community around. There was a village that helped you.
Definitely.
But it took you wanting it, not just them forcing it.
Absolutely.
And then number two, what advice do you have to athletes that may be going through those times right now in their careers?
My parents told me something at a young age that I'll never forget, and I take it with me in everything I do. They said everything you do that doesn't work out the way you want it to be is just a minor setback for a major comeback. And I kind of took that mantra with everything that happened. Every injury I had, when my grades started to drop, when I stopped being looked at as one of the better running backs in the ACC, I just reverted back to that saying, and I can hear my parents' voice in my head, and when I was finally able to gather myself and find myself once again, I was able to hear that voice on a daily basis. It took some time, but I was able to hear that voice on a daily basis. And I woke up every day and I said, listen, my current circumstances don't determine my future. This was just a minor setback. My comeback is going to be bigger than anything that I've been through. And even going through Maryland, that's a whole different story. But even going through the whole process at Maryland, what I could tell you guys is that there's going to be a point in your life where something isn't going to go right. Whether it's an injury, whether it's you get told no on an interview, whether it's anything, family problems, personal problems, it's inevitable that we won't go through tough times in our life. That's just what life is. We're going to go through tough times one point or another, but life is about how you manage those tough times, how you bounce back from those tough times. I had a teacher one time told me, life is not about waiting for it to storm, but how you dance in the rain. You know, I kind of thought about that. I was like, man, what does that mean? It was like, man, we can't sit around all day thinking about or hoping that it won't ever rain or it won't ever storm. It's going to storm. It's going to rain. You know, that's just what it is. That's just what life is. That's what our nature is. But we have to figure out a way to make the best out of that situation. When it does rain, what are we going to do? Are we going to be ready or are we going to complain? When it does storm, are we going to be positioned in a place where we can still succeed and excel and level up? Or are we going to be in a place where we just stagnate and decline? So that's kind of what I take on a daily basis in everything I do.
That's powerful. That's really powerful because I hope that kids understand. So they think that, okay, they listen to this story and they go, wow, that's, never having an injury before, nothing that is in your control, right? It's not like you tore something and it was like, you did this. It's out of your control. You get hit, you get banged, and this is how the game, this is the cost of doing business in the sport that we love and we play.
Yeah.
But that ain't all.
Definitely not.
It didn't end there. It didn't end there. And this is not like, I didn't think this is where the conversation was going to go.
It's all good. It's all good.
And the reason why it's all good is because look where the outcome is. But you go to Maryland, and what happens at Maryland?
I go to Maryland. I got a new slate. I'm on a new team. My body's feeling good. I'm ready to go. This is 2016, so this is my last year's do or die time for me. I'm in the Big Ten. We got an opportunity to play the best of the best. We got Ohio State on the schedule, Michigan. I'm ready to go, and I'm in the room with some other good guys, and we're just ready. So we go out. Our first game of the season was versus Howard. Played that game, started that game, I think I scored 2 touchdowns. Had a real good game on the ground, rushing-wise. Had a good game special teams-wise. Man, I'm starting to get into myself again. I'm starting to feel like 2013 all over again. Like I said, this is my do or die year. I have to get back to the Trey that I was when I was getting all ACC honors. I have to take that Trey to the Big Ten so I can get noticed on a national football level. When those scouts and when those people come to watch these games, I have to be somebody they know about because now I'm a guy that they forgot about, and rightfully so. So we go on to play. I forget who we played next, but we were 4 games in the season. 4 games in the season, and it's crazy. We had just finished playing Penn State. We lost a close game to Penn State, and we're in practice the next Monday. Mondays are always light practices. Like, we don't even have on pads. We're just exercising, and, man, it's crazy because I remember like it was yesterday. We're doing some type of drill, and I'm out there running on a drill, doing stuff I do every single day. I've been doing it the whole time since I've been at Maryland, movements I make since I was 10 years old, So I'm out there. Like I said, I'm feeling good. My body's feeling healthy. I'm feeling strong. I make a certain move. I plant wrong. Boom. My whole foot. I can't even stand at this moment. I drop completely to the ground. Mind you, with 4 games until my last season, like I can't get another season whatsoever. With 4 games into it, I have yet to play 1 full season in college. And on the 4th game, I can't stand on my foot. So I tried to get up. I tried to walk it out. Wouldn't work. Ended up getting carted to the training room, and they didn't quite know what was going on at the time. When they got x-ray, when they got MRI, come to find out, I had a Jones fracture in my right foot. Didn't even know what a Jones fracture was. Never even heard of it. The whole 5th metatarsal bone on my foot was gone completely. Like it was just done. Off of one plant, mind you. No one fell on me. I didn't get tackled. Only thing I did was just plant my foot in the ground, and it happened. We do that every single day. So man, you can only imagine what was going through my head at this time. Like, I can tell you what wasn't going through my head, and that's football. Football was completely out the window. I just knew at this moment it was over. I knew at this moment it was over. I went in the locker room and I cried, man. I cried again, and I was blessed, though, to have some more people on my team, come to me and come surround me in those dark moments and let me know that, man, listen, regardless of what happens from this point on, like, you still have a bright future ahead of you. Something's going to come out of this. I may not know what it is now, but something's going to come out of it. So I completely took football out my brain for this moment. Of course, I was done for the rest of the season. It was no way I could come back. And Now I'm just thinking like, man, like, there's no way I can do combine. There's no way I can do pro day. No one's going to know who I am. I don't have enough film out there.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I don't know what just happened there.
No worries. So you're no pro day, nobody's gonna know about you. Mine's not even thinking about football, I'm sure, at some point. You probably weren't
Mine's gone.
But you know what? So what changed?
Man, what changed was God, honestly. For me, I'm a big believer, you know, and I'm not trying to push no type of religion on you guys, but God entered my life and took full control, you know, because at this moment, I was just right back where I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. But he put his hand on that situation and kind of guided me throughout the entire process. You know, he saw fit that I still go to Maryland and I still meet people and I still was able to get an education and start on my master's and, you know, just rehab, you know, and just hope for the best. You know, at that time, I wasn't even trying to reach out to trainers or agents or anything like that. I was just trying to just finish school. Honestly, I was trying to think of jobs I could do, think of internships I could have. I was just trying to think outside of football at this time. So honestly, the only thing that changed for me was just God coming in and taking control over my life because I knew at that moment that I couldn't do it. It was over for me.
And yet it wasn't.
Yet it was not. You're exactly right, Coach. and it's crazy because I rehabbed for the entire year, you know, and we went on to play the bowl game in Detroit. We played Boston College, and I thought that was going to be the last time I ever saw a football field. And they let me put my jersey on, and they let me walk out. Man, I was still on crutches. I walked out on the field still on crutches, but I had my jersey on, and I just got this huge sense of joy, you know. And I thought to myself, like, I never would have imagined my last collegiate game would be how it was. You know, I think what we have to realize as athletes is that we have a responsibility to go out there and play hard each and every week. But I don't know if we understand why. You know, like coaches tell you to go out there and play hard and teammates want you to play hard for them, but you want to play hard because you never know when it's going to be your last time. You know, you never know when you have to hang that jersey or hang that pair of cleats or shoes up for good. You know, and at that point, I thought that I would never be able to lace another pair of cleats up again. You know, and I didn't want to remember football as me losing to Penn State. You know, I didn't want to remember football as me messing my foot up, making a plant in practice on a Monday practice when we're not even supposed to be doing a lot. I didn't want to remember football like that. So I put my jersey on and I walked out on that field on them crutches. And at that moment, man, I just knew that this game has brought me more than it has taken away from me. You know, a lot of times I wanted to blame the game for my injuries, or I wanted to blame the game for me not being able to get noticed or not being able to get recruited and things like that. But it wasn't a game. I learned a lot from the game. I had a lot of takeaways from the game. And it took me to go through all those things for me to realize that. You know, and I think sometimes life is happening so fast and we get caught up in going in the moments day after day, week after week, season after season, that we don't get a chance to really sink in and enjoy the process. You know, and Coach Cav, one thing I learned from him was each and every day he taught us to enjoy the process. Like, we learned to love training. Like, nobody likes working out. Like, I did it. I like the grind. I like the work, but I don't like working out. Like, I don't like going in there and my body sore afterwards. Like, I like getting the job done, but no one likes that feeling of soreness afterwards, you know. But he taught us how to fall in love with that process and how to love the grind and how to love the hustle, you know. And man, that's when I was standing on that field in Detroit, that's what was running through my mind. Like, man, like, it's been 5 years. I've been in college 5 years and not played one complete season, but I got a lot from this game, you know. So I guess just that sense of appreciation, you know, from football, from both universities, I was able to just sit there and kind of reminisce on and think about at that time.
Yeah, and I think what's really unique is that, you showed up to work. I mean, 3 months straight, you put every single day in, and not comfortable days in, man. You were still at school. You were still coming in and back out.
Driving
A
back
lot of
and
people
forth.
didn't. You didn't have the luxury of a 2 month vacation like a lot of guys do. You
Yeah.
know, some guys they go to Florida, they go to San Diego, they go on a little vacation for a few times. You came into work, and that's a testament to you and your dreams that you wanted to have. Nobody knew who they didn't know the Trey Edmunds that was going to show up, because
Yeah.
they only knew this freshman football player. That was the conversation.
Absolutely.
And what happened was that pro day. Not only what you did is you showed up like a pro at pro day,
Mm.
and then a lot of people showed up looking for other people. They're looking for somebody else. And
Absolutely.
you said, hey, there's eyes on other people. There's eyes on other people. But if I'm there, I'm going to make sure that I do something that they can't take their eyes off of me. Not that they have to look at me, but I'm going to make sure they can't take my eyes off of me. And
opportunity, yep.
When you kind of you embrace the suck of the training process, you embrace that. But what you did do is when you showed up, you forced them to say, okay, that's not an injured athlete. That athlete's not a kid that we can pass up on. Someone's going to get in trouble if they pass up on a kid like that goes out there with that size, put together, running that fast, that explosive, and look. I don't know the freshman Trey, but you look better than any person I've seen. So I'll tell you, that's the best version I've seen. That day you went to town. And it was a fun day. That was a day at a carnival. You were just going to ride and basically stealing kids' money. Every single event you went to, it was just like, dang. And I mean, I'm very proud of those moments, but I'm also very proud of the path that you went on. Like, you end up with New Orleans that year. You have a great year.
Right.
You're in a great environment. You earn a spot in preseason. That I'll never forget. Like, I wanted that day, that 53-man roster day, to go so fast. Like that was one of the longest days of my coaching career. I wanted that day to be like, whoa, hurry up already. How do you spin this clock?
That was a rough day. I mean, I didn't even fully understand how that whole process worked, but my nerves were so bad. I literally left my house and went and checked myself into a hotel and stayed in a hotel because, like, I just had to get a change of scenery. It was just too much for my mind. I couldn't fathom at that moment.
And now look, you're 3-4 years in the NFL. You're in a great position. Your brothers get drafted first round. They're in a couple years in. You have a great support staff. I mean, I'm sure it's probably the best feeling in the world to have both mom and dad at your games and have a little like the E-Boys clan. I want to get to something to me that's actually more important than training, more important than anything else. And you brought it up, which is your faith. But you've became a little like law with Trey is getting, and I want to bring that up. Why do you do that? Like, why do you do that?
Well, during my time sitting, I had a lot of time to reflect, and I did a lot of self-reflection. I did a lot of reading. I did a lot of research, and I just started to like look up things, because I just had endless time to spare. So when everybody else was out practicing and I was through rehabbing, I would just look up stuff and I would just read all types of different books and different articles and Google a lot of different stuff. So I just tried to gain as much knowledge as I could and kind of just make myself as smart as I could about everything, not just the game of football or not just about my injury, but I just wanted to be able to participate in any conversation that I was put in whenever, so I had the opportunity to speak to young kids at an early age. My parents, my mom, she's on here, and she used to make me speak to in assemblies and in different programs in church and things like that. So I kind of grew up speaking. I was never really shy when it came to that. I can talk, as you guys know. So as I got older and the things I started going through, I just started to develop this message, and I wanted somebody else to hear it because I knew I wasn't the only one that was going through it, and just like I got information from those books and those speakers I heard, I wanted someone to, at least one person, to get something from what I went through, because I thought that everything that life took me through, I thought that if I could form it into some type of speech or some type of story or whether it's a 1-minute law video or whatever it is, I thought that was just one token that somebody could take that they possibly wouldn't have to go through the same thing I went through, or they wouldn't have to go through that process of being dark mentally. Maybe they can avoid that just by hearing one of the things I'm saying. So kind of just to give back and just to give out, I guess, free game or whatever.
I will tell you that it is. There's a reason why it's gaining traction is because it's making an impact. And that's the way you have to think about it. You have to think about it and you go, every one of them might not hit every one, but each one of them is going to hit somebody. That's it's going to matter to. And it's at that moment that it actually makes the most impact. So don't stop doing them. And I will tell you that the faith that you have, like, so for me, growing up in football, it really was, and I joke around about this often, but the one thing I will take serious is it was GFSF, right? God, Family, School, Football. Now, I always got those last two letters flipped a little bit. I always kind of move those around a little bit, but it really came to, that was the way it was for me, right? And it was, and I was lucky enough to have a family that supported my faith, right?
Absolutely.
And that's not, everybody doesn't always have that. Just like a lot of people don't have families that support their goals. Sometimes the hardest people that you have to deal with are the naysayers with your same last name. And you know what? It's hard to run from those things because what you're doing is you're actually not running away from something. You're basically just being held back from their limiting beliefs of what you're meant for. And I was lucky. I didn't have that. I had tons of support. You could be anything. You could be whatever you want. My dad's like, hey, you could be a basketball. You could play in the NBA. It just might be like cleaning the court with the towel when someone's sweating. But you could be in the NBA. So he was that way. He was like very blunt, honest, and say, hey, you could play in the NBA. It just is going to be a towel boy, But the other area of your life is like, what do you have control over? Then you got to own that, right? And for me, I own the fact that, like, you know what, those were my decisions, right? The ambitions that I have, my actions had to align to it. And today, your work ethic's there. Like there's a lot of people are in a tough spot. A lot of people are complaining about the environment that we're in. But at the end of the day, we can only control like what is in our hands. Absolutely. And what is in your opportunity right now is training. What is in your opportunity is being sound in a silent environment, right? Like when it was quiet, right? When nobody was around, that was when you grabbed a hold of your faith more than ever. And I think that's a big deal to think about. But also, like right now, there's a lot of people that are in a tough spot mentally. And you're doing something about it. So walk us through, like, what's your week like? Like training wise, what are you doing? Are you just kind of quarantine and you're going to get fat, or you working out?
No, I'm definitely not going to get fat. My mother's working me and my brothers out 4, sometimes 5 times a week. We go at it. We're lifting still. We're hitting the track still. We're hitting the field still. We're doing drills. We're hitting hills. So we're definitely still getting it. It kind of took us a minute to get a program going and get a schedule because we were just so used to going to a facility and doing whatever we do and then coming home. But once we got rolling, we were just going. We're just making the best out of the situation. Like you said, just controlling what we can control because right now, everybody's trying to figure it out. You're not alone. Like everybody out there is trying to figure it out, whether you're an athlete, a coach, a teacher, even the people, the essential workers, like everybody's trying to figure it out, So it's just about finding something that works and sticking to it and not getting too knocked off of your regimen, and knowing that, hey, it might be a different type of normal, but you can't allow that to be nothing. You still have to do something. You still have to have some type of routine.
Absolutely. How much is trusting the process like mattered in this time right now? Kind of like even during combine training and prepping for pro day, you had to trust the process because it didn't make sense. You'd never been told to not train, that was what was going to be. Like our job was to pull the rubber band back, like you would say. Right? We were trying to pull the rubber band back and then only at that time let it go. how much right now is that same mindset of like trusting the process, building it now, so when you're ready to show up, you're ready?
Man, it's huge. And one thing I want to hit on real quick was, a lot of people may not know, but Coach Cav, you didn't let me run 140-yard dash until 2 weeks from my pro day. It was 2 weeks from my pro day, and I've not yet run one single 40. Like, I don't know how fast I am. I don't know if my foot can hold it. Like, he held me off all the way up until 2 weeks of my pro day. So you talk about trusting the process. Man, I trusted the process with my life.
Well, don't get it twisted. I was super nervous too. I've done this for 18 years. I'm still real nervous.
But yeah, I definitely think it's essential. You know, it's essential because, man, a lot of businesses out there, you don't know what's on the other side, or you don't know stuff that's outside of what's going on in your circle. You know, so a lot of times you just have to do what you do, and you have to do what you know you can do. Like in my sense, training, like I know I have to train each and every year. In the off season, I know I have to train. I know what I have to train. I know how I have to come into camp looking. So only thing I can worry about is that, you know, and regardless of who they bring in free agency wise, who they draft, whatever our current situation is now, if we go to OTAs, if we go to training camp, if we don't, I have no control over any of that stuff. You know, my job is just to control the controllables, you know, and have myself in the best position. So whenever we do get the call to come back, or whenever we do get the opportunity to go and showcase what we've been working on the outside, I'm not behind, and I'm not using this pandemic as an excuse. You know, I'm still coming looking like I would have looked my rookie year or 2 years ago or whatever, you know. Just I think trusting the process is just so essential in everything, because it's necessary. You know, we have to do it. It doesn't make sense, like you said, you know, but if we don't trust it, then we left behind, bottom line.
I think it's awesome. I'll be honest with you. I really am. I want you to know, as a coach, I'm proud of you. I try to tell you that every day I see you.
Definitely.
I am. It was real fun to have, you know, kind of the whole crew in and getting after it. That was
had a good
lot
time.
of fun. You know, Connor wanted to tell you that it was just because you don't have laser tag where you grew up, it still doesn't give you an excuse to be bad at it, though.
Is Connor on here?
He is.
Hey, man, keep that a secret, man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Don't let everybody know about that game, man.
Never happened, right?
My man.
So you're making an impact. There's no doubt about it, you know, and not only are you making an impact, you're doing what you love. You're doing it with integrity. You're doing it with the values that your parents instilled in you. But you're not focused on other people's limiting beliefs on you.
Absolutely.
You know, you're putting your faith in God. You're putting your time in. Your actions and your ambitions are aligned. I know I sound like a broken record sometimes to a lot of people, but what I will tell you, and what I'll tell every other athlete, is that it took a village to get you to the point. Like, it wasn't just one.
For sure.
But that doesn't mean, like, I remember, like, talking to your mom, talking to your dad, talking to your other coaches. There's a lot of people that had their hand in putting you in a position that you were in. But there was a sense of ownership that you had. I tell everybody, being a pro is three things, right? I say to everybody, it's like, hey, if you want to be a pro, there's three things you have to do. Number one, you have to have passion. You have to. You do this and you don't get up and excited, then that ain't for you. Number two, you got to be resilient. You know, you have to have a relentless pursuit of your passion, and that's going to take resiliency.
Yeah.
And then the last thing is, you have to own them. You have to have ownership of it. And that's the definition of a pro to me, right? You got to be a pro. And every single day before you got paid, right? Before you got a penny with your name on it, on an NFL check, you showed up like a pro. And you still do that every single day. You do that with integrity. You do that with values. You do that with your work ethic. You do that with honesty. And I want to commend you for that. I want to say thank you. I wanted to open up this time for some Q&A. If somebody wants to jump on and ask a question, you know, just let me know, and I'll let you in. Does anybody have any questions for Trey? Just unmute yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was wondering what it's like to have a brother on your team and play against another brother in the NFL.
Man, that was a crazy night. It was a huge blessing though. You know, we talked about playing professional sports, you know, since we were 4 or 5 years old, you know, so just being able to actually see that thing come to life and actually have the opportunity to do that, you know, it's a huge blessing and a huge testament. And, you know, we wanted to win. You know, we came up short, but we wanted to win, and whatever we had to do to win, we were willing to do. But we're all competitors, man, so at the end of the day, we have fun before, we have fun after, but during the game, it was all about business. But that night is definitely one night that I'll never, ever forget.
That's awesome. Who's a better basketball player?
Oh, me, no question. I don't even think it's up for debate, and I hope they're on here listening too. Come on now. Here you go. It's Terrell.
Oh, my goodness. Hey, y'all. Hey, listen, if Terrell's on here, y'all need to put your boots on. You got to get your umbrella. There's going to be some stuff thrown at you. There's a lot of stuff to be talked right now. Oh, no. Oh, no. Look at him. Look at this guy.
Come on, man.
Look at that guy. Oh, man.
Hey.
Listen, you still owe me for that double lunch that you got. This man eats more than anybody else on this call.
I had to make sure everything was on point at the restaurant.
It was good. It was good. I missed those days. Any other questions for Trey? Awesome. Guys.
I got a question.
Oh, fire away. Go ahead.
So you're obviously a very motivated guy. Also, I'm a huge Steelers fan, so this is real cool. But
Oh my God.
You're obviously very motivated, and you don't let adversity affect you too much. But what's kind of going through your head when, like, the Steelers draft a running back? You know, they just drafted a running back. Do you just kind of, like, brush it off, or do you kind of get the sense of, like, I got to go harder now, I got to work harder? Like, what goes through your mind when that kind of happens?
Well, one thing I had to learn about the NFL is that it's nothing but a business, bro. You know, it's nothing but a business. Like, I thought college was a business, but professional sports, you know, it's nothing but a business. And it's their job each and every year, you know, to bring in replacements. Now, whether those replacements take your job or take your spot or work alongside you is solely up to you. You know, you do all you can do to put yourself in the best position on cut day and for the first game or whatever. But it's what I know now is that it's their job to bring in guys each and every year. You know, whether they draft them high, whether they draft them low, or sign them free agency. You know, and I know that's never going to change. For as long as I play in this league, I know that each and every year I'm going to have to fight for my job. You know, and sometimes more so than others because of the position I'm in. But I've grown to accept that challenge. You know, and at first, my first 2 years, I was kind of like hesitant because I didn't really understand. And I thought, like, man, like, if you gave me this break, why are you so quick to try to get me out? You know, but just being able to understand and being able to talk to a lot of the older guys and get mentored from a lot of the older guys and, you know, my parents and agents and things like that, I was able to grow and get this knowledge and learn how the game is played, you know, and learn, like, okay, cool. Maybe they do draft a running back, but what do I have to do to stay here? So I think to wrap it all up, just knowing your place and knowing how you can survive and how you can stay. And then once you get in, letting your talent and letting your work ethic speak for itself.
Absolutely. And I think that, you know, to Trey's point, it is a business, right? But what it also is they want to win. So the person who goes up the best is going to be their investment, right? Their interest is in their investment, and their investment is in winning. It's not in the other stuff. So if you show up ready to go, what are they going to do? This guy's better? There's a lot less politics than people think when you want to win. And if your agenda is driven off of, like, showing up as the best version, you'll be good to go. So, and again, like, what are you going to do? Complain about it?
Yeah, complain about it and what? What's next?
So, Trey, thank you very much.
Thank you guys for listening.
Absolutely. And next Tuesday, here's my challenge to everybody. There's 50 plus people on this call. There was over 70 when they jumped in. Here's what I want. I want Tuesday with Trey. I want Law to blow up next week. And now it might not hit everybody, but the one that does hit you, I think you have an obligation to share it with somebody, because if it affects you, I know someone else could hear it. So Trey's not going to stop, and I hope that everybody else tunes in. I'll be an Edmunds fan forever.
That's definitely cool.
But I'm proud of you. I'm excited for the future, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity that you've given me and your parents have given to me and entrusted in me to work with you. And
Yes, sir.
I'm excited. That's all I can
Well,
say.
I appreciate the opportunity, Coach. I appreciate every one of you guys for listening, and I hope that something I said made sense.
It definitely did. All right, guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
See y'all.